Now the advanced tutorial is the finishing solution. By the end of the intermediate tutorial, you actually have almost a completely fully functional invoicing solution. But the advanced solution is really going to cover those advanced techniques that really makes it cool. And you really need to understand the beginner and especially the intermediate to go on to advanced. We'll cover things like the ultimate find. And really, it is the ultimate find. I've been working on it for 10 years and it does just about everything. We'll do a back and forward button like a web browser. We'll show you how to save a found set many different ways. So in other words, if somebody wants to say, I want this found set, well, we're going to show you how to save it so the person can come back to it later. And we'll discuss the ins and outs of each method that we use. We'll use recursive custom functions to do a phone filter. We'll do custom form letters. Now this is actually a very complex technique that's very, very useful. I use it on almost every solution I do. We'll manipulate text styles with calculations and scripts. We'll also create a script that allows you to make new requests for the user without them even knowing that they're making new requests, because most users who are using your solution won't understand what a new request is, and it's your job as a developer to make sure they don't have to learn your solution. It should just make sense. So this script allows new requests to be made without the user even knowing. We'll discuss cross-tab reports, filtered portals, script triggers, which is the big new FileMaker 10 feature. We'll have a whole chapter on that. We'll also discuss change logs, how to make a history. There's quite a few ways to do this, and even deployment considerations. Now, throughout this tutorial, we'll be using FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced. That doesn't mean you have to have FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced, but it will be very helpful. I would say that about 90% of the techniques, or even as high as 95% of the stuff that's covered in here, won't require FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced. I'm going to try to convince you to get it if you don't have it already, because it'll make life easier. We're going to several times go into Managed Database and copy some tables and some fields. Well, with FileMaker Pro 10, you'll have to do those manually, whereas the people with FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced is going to save them a lot of time. So it's not that you can't do this stuff, it just makes it harder with the regular version of FileMaker Pro. So again, most tasks in here can be substituted. There are a few that can't be, and we'll discuss those and workarounds and things you can do when it's not. So we'll be fine if you have FileMaker Pro 10. You can't convince your boss to get it. Don't worry about that. So if you have FileMaker Pro 10, you don't need FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced, but you will see that once you get through this whole tutorial, you will definitely want it. Now let's talk about FileMaker Pro 7, 8, 8.5, and 9 as compared to FileMaker 10. Most of the techniques inside these tutorials are applicable to FileMaker 7, 8, 8.5, and 9. I'd say about 90%. So if you're not quite up to FileMaker 10 yet, you're just working with FileMaker 9, you can still use these tutorials. It will be noted when we come across a technique that doesn't work in FileMaker 9 or 8 or 8.5 or something like that. It will be noted the other workarounds, the other ways to accomplish this task. It may be as simple as substituting a global field for a variable, or it may be in a completely different method for doing this. One thing you need to realize, FileMaker 7, 8, 8.5, and 9 all have the same file format. So all of the work files will open in any version of FileMaker that has a .fp7 at the end. So no worries on the work files, those will all work for you. It's just that specific features in FileMaker 10 will not work in FileMaker 9, such as script triggers. Or specific features in FileMaker 9 will not work in earlier versions, such as conditional formatting. So not to worry, if you don't have the most current version of FileMaker, you'll be all right. You'll still learn a ton because the basic good programming techniques that have been there are still there, and that's 90% of what you need to learn anyhow. I also recommend that you build it. What do I mean by this? A lot of people like to watch the videos, and then either when they get done with the videos or maybe even after the first couple of chapters they start working on their solution. You need to watch the videos and either at the same time as you're watching them, build them, or watch them and then go through them a second time and actually build it. If you don't, you're not going to be able to imbibe the techniques as well. I've talked to many people over the years I've been doing these tutorials, and I can tell you for sure, people get excited and they want to go ahead and watch them and then build something. You have to be patient, and you actually have to build the solution. Build it exactly as you see it on the screen, exactly, make everything work, And believe me, when you go to work on your project, you'll know how to do everything much better than if you just watch it.